I mean,
Oh, the
the,
knees
oh yeah, we wanted to do that.
Sure.
But we said you're going to speak a little before Psalm 92.
Yes. Exactly, that's perfect.
See if we can do this. So I'll be playing under you during your
Right.
Whatever.
Rebenu. Was wird sein, als Moschiach wird schon kommen? Als Moschiach wird kommen, will macht das so den und was wollen wir essen auf der Sudanju? Dem Schorhabor mit Liosen, dem Schorhabor mit Liosen, dem Schorhabor mit Liosen wollen wir essen. Auf der Sudanju. Und wer wird uns trinken auf der Sudanju? Dem Jain am Yeshua. Dem Jain am Yeshua. Dem Jain am Schummer werden wir trinken, dem Schorbe mit Liviosen werden wir essen. Auf der Sudanju. Und wer wird uns teure sagen auf der Sudanju? Rabbeinu wird uns teure sorgen, dem Jain am Schummer werden wir trinken, dem Scholber mit Liviosen wollen wir essen. Auf der Sudanju. Und wer nur wird uns spielen auf der Sudanju? Rabbeinu wird uns teure sorgen, dem Jain am Schummer werden wir trinken, dem Schorber mit Liviosen werden wir essen. Auf der Sudanju. Und wer wird uns Chochmisse sagen, auf der Sudanju? Rabbeinu wird uns teure sorgen, und wir Jain am Schummer werden wir trinken, dem Schorber mit Liviosen werden wir essen. Auf der Sudanju. Und wer wird uns tanzen auf der Sudanju? Tanz. Schleime, Melech wird uns Chochmes sagen, Moshe Melech wird uns spielen, Moshe Melech wird uns Teure sagen, im Jahr ist schon mal wel mehr trinken, im Scholem Levios wel mehr essen. Auf der Sonne, wenn ich nehm der Mannen sich, wenn ich bin a Kind gewesen, in der Heim, in Städtele am Moor, in die schöne Winternacht pflegen mir spazieren gehen, und Chalamen, Chaloines Onazor. Oi, wie denn wollt ich gewähn, asoi harzig, asoi schön, wenn mir Flänge gehen vorbei die Schul. Der Hasen, so schöne Stimme, hat geklingen, so früh, bei dem Abend mit Preisgefühl. das Bäumele, das Milchel, will ich vernoch sein. Was ist geworden von ein Städtele? Was ist geworden von einer Talmud Torah in dvarim she'ein lahem shiur ha'peya ve'hapikurim ve'arayot ugmilot chasadim v'talmud Torah Talmud Torah ein dvarim she'ein lahem shiur ha'peya ve'hapikurim ve'arayot ugmilot chasadim v'talmud Torah Weg
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We begin on page 34 as we welcome in our day of rest.
ידיד נפשיו הרחמן, ידיד נפשיו הרחמן, משוכב דך אל רצונך, משוכב דך יאי לי 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 אל רצונך, ירוץ עבדך כמו אייל, ישתחווה עלי עלי לי 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 אל מול הדרך, ירב לו ידידותך, מנופת סוף יאי לי יאי לי 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 וכל טעם.
Shabbat Shalom. Oh, I have to say, I can feel everyone on the live stream also writing back Shabbat Shalom, but it is so lovely to also hear the voices saying Shabbat Shalom in return. I will admit that when I have been leading from home, I often will have my wife kind of stand behind the camera and say Shabbat Shalom, just so that I don't feel like I'm just staring at my camera and not sort of taking in at least one face. It's good to be able to take in lots of faces. So if this is your first time at CBST, and that includes those of you who are on our live stream, I love reading through and seeing all those chat comments afterwards of where people are joining us from. But if there's anybody in the sanctuary tonight who is here for the first time, we would also love to know who you are and where you are from so that we can say welcome. Is there anyone here for the first time tonight? And if you're shy, that's okay, but come and tell me afterwards so I can say welcome. No newbies, okay. Well, welcome to everybody. We're so thrilled that everyone is here. We had been hoping to have a visit in person this week. We have a long-standing partnership, CBST, with the Jerusalem Open House for Pride and Tolerance. We love them very, very much, and their original plan had been to come and be with us tonight. We are doing a virtual visit instead, and so we are going to invite them virtually to do our candle lighting. And I will just give the word that I am not Rabbi Yael Rapport. Some of you may have been assuming that Rabbi Rapport would be leaving services tonight. With that assumption, I pre-recorded the candle lighting with the Jerusalem Open House folks, so I do not have a twin sister. For those of you who are on a screen, you will soon see me welcoming our friends from the Jerusalem Open House.
Shabbat Shalom. We are so thrilled to welcome our friends from the Jerusalem Open House to join us for candle lighting tonight. We are so looking forward to them visiting us in person, but in the meantime, we invite you to join us tomorrow morning for services via Zoom for those who are not going to be in person, because afterwards we will hang out on Zoom and have a chance to get to know them, to ask questions, and to spend some time meeting and talking. And I'd love it if each of you would just say a word about who you are. Melody?
Hi, I'm Melody, and I'm the Partnerships and Resource Development Director at the Jerusalem Open House for Pride and Tolerance, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you all tomorrow.
Thank you. And Alon?
Hi, my name is Alon Shachar. I'm the Executive Director of the JOH, and I'm so glad to be here and looking forward to meeting you tomorrow and hopefully in person soon next year.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And we invite you to rise if you are able as we welcome in the angels of Shabbat.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos. You may be seated. We greet all of each other as angels. And we turn to page 52 as we move into the Psalms that welcome in our day of rest.
Kadma
אשר בידו מחקרי ארץ ותועפות הרים לו, אשר בידו מחקרי ארץ ותועפות הרים לו.
Page 58.
זמרו לאדוני בכינור, בכינור וקול זמרה. זמרו לאדוני בכינור וקול זמרה. זמרו לאדוני בכינור, בכינור וקול זמרה. זמרו לאדוני בכינור, בכינור וקול זמרה. זמרו לאדוני בכינור, בכינור וקול זמרה.
Please rise. We turn to page 62, Mizmor LeDavid.
מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בני אלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, כל אדוני על המים, אל הכבוד הרים. אדוני על מים רבים, אדוני על מים רבים. איי 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 כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל, לבנון וסיריון כמו ונרמים. איי 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 כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יחולל איילות, ויחשוף יערות ובהיכלו כולו עכשיו וישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו
You may be seated. One of my favorite traditions of Shabbat is the idea that for the 25 hours of Shabbat, we receive an extra soul, the neshama yetera, that somehow the soul that we have been dwelling with the rest of the week, the other 6 days, that soul has been through a lot. And maybe that soul needs a little bit of extra help to actually rest, to actually be able to sit down. I know I often need somebody else to point out to me, like, oh, hey, Rabbi James, have you had any water to drink today? Right? We sometimes need those external moments of, wait, no, take care of yourself. And so there's this lovely idea that for Shabbat, that when we lit those candles, that somehow there is an extra soul that just sort of settled in to your soul to join you for a little while. So when we're singing Lecha Dodi, come, O Sabbath bride, that bride can be any gender. That soul that we're welcoming in, the love that we are welcoming in, the partnership with ourselves, with community, with God that we are welcoming in. Let it sit into you. Let it breathe into you. Feel your lungs expand. Feel your heart slow down a tiny bit. Feel your ribs expand. Unlike Rabbi Kleinbaum, I will not stop you if you're not using your diaphragm, but I still deeply encourage you to use that diaphragm and let that neshama yetera expand into it and settle in, and give it some space for that soul to be with your soul. And this is the wonderful piyut, the wonderful liturgical poem of welcoming in that extra love, of welcoming in that extra relationship that makes Shabbat, Shabbat. Page 66.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. על יד בן ישי בית הלכני קורבה אל נפשי גאלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללי פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללי פני שבת נקבלה לא תבושי ולא תקלמי מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי בך יחסו עניי עמי ונבנתה עיר ארצילה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללי פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללי פני שבת נקבלה וחיו למשיסה שוסייך ורחקו קומב עלייך יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כמסוס לב באהבה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללי פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יללי פני שבת נקבלה ימין ושמאל kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat, mekabelai, yanai, nai, yanai, nai, yanai, nai, nai, yanai, nai, 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 yanai, nai, 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 yanai, nai, nai, diri, nai, 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 yanai, nai, nai, lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat, mekabelai, lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat,
You and your neshama yetera may be seated. We turn to page 72 and the Psalm for Shabbat, which has the beautiful verse that is on the ark behind me. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. It is good to give thanks to God. I have a good friend who over the past year had a gratitude practice of every morning writing down 5 things she was grateful for. And she said this particular year she felt she really needed it, and this particular year it made a huge difference. I am not sure if I could pull out 5 things every morning, especially if it was before my coffee. One of the things I am deeply grateful for is my coffee, but another thing I am deeply grateful for is being part of a community that reminds ourselves and reminds each other constantly of all of the things we have to be grateful for. I'm deeply grateful for every single one of you. I am deeply grateful for every single one of you who shows up in person, on the live stream, in the Zooms, the ones who keep waving at the end like I do and don't actually want to stop and turn off the camera. I think it's like one of my favorite moments is that for those of us who grew up making phone calls to people we loved in distant places, that no, you hang up first. No, I don't want to hang up yet. Because even if we don't really have things to say again, we still have that connection we want to hold on to. And that is something I am so deeply grateful for that I feel it all the time. And here we are in Shabbat, saying what we hopefully have been feeling as much as we can during the week, and what we hopefully will say in the coming week as much as we can. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. It is so good to give thanks. It is so good to be grateful.
Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat, Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat, Tov lehodot l'Adonai, uzamer l'shimcha elyon, lehagid baboker chastecha, ve'emunatecha baleilot, alei asor va'alei navel, alei higayom bechinor, lehagid baboker chastecha, ve'emunatecha baleilot, alei asor va'alei navel, alei higayom bechinor. Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat, Mizmor shir
Please read with me on the bottom of page 75. Praise me, says God, and I will know that you love me. Condemn me, says God, and I will know that you love me. Praise or condemn me, and I will know that you love me. Sing out my graces, says God. Raise your fist against me and be angry, says God. Sing out graces or express anger. Anger is also a kind of praise, says God. But if you sit and fenced off in your apathy, says God, if you sit entrenched in I don't give a damn, says God, if you look at the stars and yawn, if you see suffering and don't cry out, if you don't praise and you don't condemn, then I created you in vain, says God. We rise if we are able and continue on page 78 with the Baruch Hu, the call to prayer.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Please read with me at the top of page 81, and you may be seated. Praised are you, Eternal One, our God, ruler of all time and space, whose word brings on the evening dusk. With wisdom you open the gates of dawn. With understanding you make time pass and seasons change. You arrange the stars in the sky according to your plan. You create day and night, rolling light into darkness and darkness into light. You cause the day to fade away and bring on night. You separate day and night. Source of all forces is your name, living and everlasting one, rule over us forever and ever. Praised are you, Eternal One, who brings on evening's dusk.
מעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו.
המעריב ערבים.
Page 86. Ahavat Olam.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו ושוכבנו וקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, באורך ימינו, ובהם נגן יומם בלילה, יומם בלילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו.
אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Please continue individually with the texts on the following pages.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Page 94, please read with me at the top of the page. We acknowledge as true and trustworthy that there is but one universal God, and to God's service Israel stands eternally committed. We recognize in God the power that has enabled us to triumph over defeat, persecution, and oppression. It was God who redeemed us from Egyptian slavery and delivered us from the despotism of the pharaohs. For God wills that we be free to use our powers in holy service and not be bound to the arbitrary rule of any mortal. Whenever human rulers usurp divine authority and exploit the people, those tyrants' hearts are hardened, their arrogance writes their doom. Therefore, we will never be discouraged nor dismayed when unrighteous powers rise up to destroy us. Though enemy hosts pursue us, we shall remember how our ancestors were saved at the Sea of Reeds.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, מלכותך ראו בניך בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. In this first semester of my last year of cantorial school, thank God, I am in a course entitled Advanced Recitative, a class in which we learn higher level and classic settings of our liturgy from across the Jewish spectrum. A few weeks ago, I was assigned the following piece by Israeli composer Yehezkel Braun. Braun was born in Germany but brought to the land of Israel at the age of 2 in 1924.
Prolific in his time, Brahms was inspired by chanting of all different types and incorporated Jewish motifs and modal tonalities in his music. This setting of Hashkivenu is like an art song and prayer, delicately expressing the text we say each week. In just a couple pages of music, Brahms achieves a great range of emotion, offering a sense of intimacy, fear, and most of all, peace. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom V'ha'amidenu Malkeinu L'chaim Ufros aleinu Sukat Shelomecha V'takenenu Beitza Tova Milefanecha V'hoshi'enu Leman Shemecha V'ha'akein ba'deinu V'haser me'aleinu oyev dever v'cherev v'rav v'yagon V'haser satan milefaneinu u'me'achareinu ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו, כי אל שומרנו מצילנו אתה, כי אל מלך חנון ורחום אתה, ושמור צאתנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל כל העמים ועל
Thank you, thank you. It is one of the blessings of this community to have Joyce Rosenzweig and students who are learning this incredible music that does not often get used in actual prayer settings. And that was such a hashkivenu. Oy, that was such a hashkivenu. Thank you. We rise if we are able. I feel funny saying if we are able. If we are not so overcome by that peace that we are still capable of standing, we rise and turn to page 102 for Vishamru.
Vishamru v'nei Israel et hashabat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
To pray is to take notice of the wonder, to regain a sense of the mystery that animates all beings, the divine margin in all attainments. Prayer is our humble answer to the inconceivable surprise of living. Following the Chatzi Kaddish, we will recite the Amidah individually and silently. The traditional text begins immediately following the Chatzi Kaddish on page 106, and there are alternative poetic readings found on page 124. And as always, there are the texts in your heart that you need to communicate to yourself or to the divine. Page 104, Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, אמן. בעלמא דברה קרותי והמליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעד מעלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, ושבחתה ונחמתה תאמילן בעלה ויאמרו Shatahu Adonai Eloheinu Shatahu Elohei Avoteinu Le'olam va'ed Modim anachnu lach Tzur chayenu magen yishenu Tzur chayenu magen yishenu Atahu 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 לדור ודור. Atahu לדור ודור. מודים אנחנו לך, מודים אנחנו לך, שתהו אדוני אלוהינו, שתהו אלוהי אמותינו לעולם ועד. מודים אנחנו עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. אמן. עושה שלום, שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה
We continue with a prayer for healing on page 130. משברך אמותינו שרה רבקה לאה רחל בלכה וזלפה ואבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. May the one who blessed all of our ancestors bless us too. Bless and heal all those who are ill. This week we include in our healing prayers Holly Blair Cassio, Gitalea Bat Chava Yosef, Anne Gregory, Donna Johnson, Randy Sarakoff, all those who are currently afflicted with COVID-19 in the CBST community and around the world. And to these names we add our own. Please say out loud any names that you are holding in your heart tonight. Please write them into the chat. Speak them into the world. May they be blessed with a full and complete healing, a healing of spirit and a healing of body, together with all those who are ill among the Jewish people and around the world. May those who will not be healed on this earth be blessed with nights free from suffering and days filled with peace. May God grant strength and comfort to those who care for the sick. May God help us to find hope and courage as we face fear and loss. May all who are ill be surrounded by the love of friends, loving companions, families, and community. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen.
The prayer for our country tonight, we are honoring a lovely family who you will shortly see. Siblings Gabby and Matthew Richter will be reading the prayer for our country on behalf of their newly named baby sister, who CBST had the honor of doing the naming for their little sister last week, Audrey Luna, Livana Leah in Hebrew.
This is in honor of our sister Livana Leah.
Source of all life, guide our leaders with righteousness. Strengthen their hearts, but keep them from hardening, that they may use their influence and authority to speak truth and act for justice. May all who dwell in this country share in its bounty, enjoy its freedoms, and be protected by its laws. May this nation use its power and wealth to be a voice for justice, peace, and equality for all who dwell on earth. May we be strong and have courage, to be bold in our action and deep in our compassion, to discern when we must listen and when we must act, to uproot bigotry, intolerance, misogyny, racism, discrimination, and violence in all its forms, to celebrate the many faces of God reflected in the wondrous diversity of humanity, to welcome the stranger and the immigrant, and to honor the gifts of those who seek refuge and possibility here, as they have since before this nation was born. Let justice well up like waters, and righteousness like a mighty stream.
Amen. And Mazel Tov to Gabby and Matthew on their new sister, and Mazel Tov to Audrey on having some pretty amazing older siblings to welcome her. We look forward to all three of them being able to join us. This is a week of simchas. I love having more than one simcha in a week. I would like to invite up Rimon, who has joined the Jewish people officially this week. We are incredibly grateful. For those of you who have been in the sanctuary pre-COVID, that is Rimon's seat. And the first time I told Rimon that the first time I was back at CBST for a service in person, I actually sat down right there and then thought, wait, this is not my seat. This is where you belong. So Rimon, we are so grateful that you are here. We are so grateful that you have brought your blessings to this community in such a way that now you are going to have the opportunity to bring more blessings to the community. So I am offering Rimon a blessing, and this is the best part of being a rabbi. I just want to be honest, is this. The microphone part is not the best part. There we go. Rimon. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Sarah and Abraham, Yitzchak and Rivka, Yaakov, Leah and Rachel, Bilhah and Zilpah, bless you as you continue your journey as a Jew, to see what you will do in this community and in the world beyond. You have brought insight, devotion, and compassion to all of your studies. You have taught us so much on this journey, and you will continue to do so. May God bless you with every opportunity to learn and to flourish and to become ever more yourself. May you continue to grow as a Jew and as a human being in health, in wisdom, and in abundant spirit. May God bless the work of your hands and your heart as you strive to create a better and more peaceful time and place in this world for your Jewish community and around the globe. And let us all say, Amen. Simen Tovim. Simen Tovim, Mazel Tovim, Mazel Tovim. Simen Tovim, Mazel Tovim. Mazel tov. And Mazel tov. We have more. I love having more people, more Jews, more simchas, more everything. It's really delightful. Where are we? We are on page 138. Kaddish Shalem, the full Kaddish. No? Yes. Great.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, אמן. ועלמא דברי קירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי חונו וימי חונו חי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. תקבל צלות הון ובאות הון דכל ישראל כל דם ובהון דיבי שמיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן.
Some of you know that I do like to describe myself as the emergency backup rabbi at CBST. So I should have added that we are also praying for healing for these sniffles that Rabbi Rapport's adorable James has been bringing home from his school. We like to say that New York is a bit of a petri dish, but frankly, so are toddlers. So I am very grateful to be able to step in and lead some services and teach some Torah in her place, which is, of course, never really in her place. I am neither as funny nor as curly, but it is a joy and an honor. So this week's Torah reading begins with what is probably the most frequently sung first verse of a Torah portion. God says to Abraham, Lechi lach, lech lecha. See, I'm already quoting as if it's Debbie Friedman, but it's actually God who says it first. Lech lecha, get up, God says to Abraham. Avram, he's not yet Abraham. Get up and go away from your land and from your birthplace and from your father's home to a land that I will show you. We are arriving at this portion at Lech lecha, just as some of us are beginning to get up and move around and do so more than we have done in the last 18 months. We're leaving our homes more often. There are more places to go. We are sometimes getting on subways or buses or even airplanes. Or maybe we're just starting to dream of going to places we haven't been able to go to, places we haven't been for a long time, whether it's in another time zone or in our own city. And at the same time, we are adapting to a greater awareness of not knowing exactly where we're going, what's going to be next, what things will look like when we get there, and having multiple versions of future plans, or maybe having a hard time planning at all. I'm pretty sure I am not the only one, for example, who has arranged to meet a friend for dinner or for tea with the caveat that if it rains, we'll do it on Zoom. So I feel lucky to have been back to a few of my favorite places. The roof garden at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, my favorite restaurant in New Haven, Claire's Cornucopia, for a piece of Lithuanian coffee cake, and of course, to CBST. And I'm still dreaming of a few places that I have not been able to go since before the pandemic. My mother-in-law's house in Germany, our friend Cecil's kitchen on the Upper East Side, or the homes of my friends and colleagues in Jerusalem and Bethlehem. And honestly, I know it's actually a historical anomaly to have the ability to hop on a train or a plane and travel easily in the way that I used to. Even now, even today, most of us have the ability to travel more quickly and generally with greater comfort than our ancestors, and to see far more of the world than they did. Abraham and Sarah's lifelong journeys on foot, or possibly on camel, took them only from the equivalent of, let's say, New York to maybe Miami at the most. Having the opportunities to choose to visit multiple places and even to live in multiple places over the world makes it possible for us to have multiple places that feel like home. So this concept of home is kind of curious. It can be hard to explain what makes us feel at home somewhere, whether it's a particular country or city, visiting the home of a good friend. If someone asks me, where are you from? I actually have a hard time answering because I was born in one city, I grew up in another city, and I've lived my adult life between two totally different cities. But sometimes people will say, so where is home for you? That's a very different question. I sometimes answer by saying it's like the Amtrak Northeast Corridor, specifically on the cafe car, which I also have not seen in 2 years. But where is home for you? Feels more expansive. You can have more than one answer. Now, if we happen to meet Avram and Sarai, their original names, on the journey from Haran to the land they did not yet know, or if we met them later in their journeying, after spending time dwelling in multiple different places, and if we asked them, so where are you from? They probably would say, from Haran. But it's harder to imagine what would their answer be to, where is home for you? The journey that Avram and Sarai makes changes them. They take on new beliefs. They learn to communicate with a God who no one has known before, and learn behaviors and expectations that are totally new. They change their expectations for the future, unexpectedly becoming parents in their 90s and being told that their legacy will bless all the families of the world. They change their names, taking on new names that better reflect who they are and who they will become. And along the way, every new place and every new experience shapes them and becomes part of them. For Avraham and Sarah, home might mean their very portable tents, becoming welcoming places no matter where they are for hungry strangers. Home might mean the moment when Abraham has the confidence to argue with God and to try to save people in Sodom and Gomorrah. Home might feel like Isaac and Ishmael coming together unexpectedly in the end to bury their father. Lately, I have realized how much I feel at home in laughing and learning with friends, even over Zoom. How much I feel at home in closing my eyes and being with the memories of people who I have loved who are no longer here, and in other things that I carry around in my soul, no matter where I am. My apartment may be small, but the chambers of my heart are full of encounters and music and memories and places that I visit regularly. One of my favorite travel writers, Pico Iyer, was born in Oxford, England, to parents who were from India, was raised in California, and spends most of every year in Japan. He's a mess. It's great. It's just like, I love it. He writes, this was a bit alarming, when my family home suddenly burned to the ground in a forest fire in California, and all my photos, mementos, and notes were reduced to ash, I was reminded forcibly that home nowadays has nothing to do with a piece of soil and everything to do with something I carry around inside me. What is a place that you carry around with you? What memories, what images, which meals, which moments, which people? To borrow an image from They Might Be Giants, what goes into building the little birdhouse in your soul? It's been almost 2 years since I've been able to easily visit other places that feel like home. But those places and those memories have stayed with me throughout this time. And I've come to be even more appreciative of the small, intimate moments of feeling truly at home that I carry with me. Like tonight, like this service, like these moments being with all of you, this time together, which is now becoming part of our shared journey. My great hope is that all of us will continue to collect not only the places where we feel comfortable and respected and joyful and able to live our lives the way we would wish, but also along the way to collect more images and memories and recipes and friendships that we can carry with us wherever we go, including when we stay home. That every lech lecha that we hear, every need to get up and go elsewhere, will lead us to being more fully ourselves and more fully at home in our own souls. Abraham and Sarah and their family may have left Haran behind, but their descendants carried the story with them so carefully that it became part of the text that we've generations of our scribes have written into scrolls by hand, and we have read them again and again, and we will read it again tomorrow morning from the scroll. We will chant out loud, Lech lecha, get up and go, me'artzecha, from your land, umimoladetcha, and from your birthplace. Get up and go to a place that I will show you. And through us, just like through Abraham and Sarah, may all the people of the world be blessed. I actually had a second blessing in there. Look at that. In our Tefillat Haderach, in our traveler's prayer, there's always got to be one more blessing. We ask, Yehi ratzon milfanecha, may it be God's will that we are led towards peace, that our footsteps go towards peace, that we are guided towards peace, and that we reach our destination in peace. So may our desired destination never be limited to a single place. May our desired destination always include the chambers of our own heart, and may our footsteps always be directed towards peace. Shabbat Shalom. We continue with Aleinu on page 140. Please rise if you are able.
ידעת היום וידעת היום בהשבות אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. The top of page the bottom of page 149. Please read with me. When I am dead, even then, I will still love you. I will wait in these poems. When I am dead, even then, I am still listening to you. I will still be making poems for you out of silence. Silence will be falling into that silence. It is building music. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 150, and we remember, as we do in every service, those we have lost in years past or in recent times. Tonight we remember CBST members whose names are on the wall here: Ira Berger, Stephen Biller, and Devorah Stoll. And family and friends: Celia Altman, Jerry Fliegenspan, Gladys Gershon, Eve Greenberg, Chosen Kamea, Helene Kerman, Sarah Noguera, Yitzhak Rabin, Abe Rosenzweig, Rose Sachs, Herman Siegel, Fanny Tudelman, Rex Wasserman, May Weinberg, and Max Zinderman. And we also extend our condolences to the families, friends, and communities of all those who are dying each day from COVID. As of today, the total number are 34,442 in New York City, 56,428 in New York State, 741,898 across the United States, and 4,900,479 worldwide that we have lost. If you are in a period of mourning in Shiva or Shloshim or the first year, please rise if it is the yahrzeit of someone you love, or if it is your custom to stand. Page 150. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyamechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam ulamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha brechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
May their memories be a blessing, and may it be every blessing that we need. I would like to invite up for some announcements our Vice President, Harold Levine.
Thank you so much, Rabbi James. Shabbat Shalom. I am Harold Levine, Vice President of the Board. On behalf of the lay leadership of Congregation Beit Simchat Torah, I'd like to welcome all of you and thank you for joining us, whether you're here in person or online, a longtime member or first-timer. Thank you so much, Rabbi James, cantorial intern Sam Rosen, and music director Joyce Rosenzweig, for leading us in a very special service tonight. Rabbi, you told us that we have an additional soul that joins us for Shabbat, and I want to say that you delighted my soul with the way you find a different way through the prayer book for us every time you lead services. You bring a very, very special voice and your own very, very special soul to us. Sam, that Hashkivenu went right to my soul, as I'm sure it did to everybody who's sitting here. It was just such a beautiful, moving moment, and we are so, so grateful to you and so fortunate to have you with us. And Joyce, you lift my soul with your music. I think that of the many things that I missed when we were online, it was hearing you in person on your beautiful Steinway grand piano, and I will never take that for granted again. The music that you make to enhance our service really is, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, and it is a gift to us from you, and thank you so much. As many of you know, CBST's adult education offerings flourished during the shutdown. Most notably, more than 100 members of our community studied Hebrew at all levels under the able tutelage of Mia Rodstein and Ron Weiss. Some started with their Aleph Bet, others dusted off or improved existing skills. May I get a quick show of hands of how many people here studied Hebrew over the past year? Wow, that is a lot of people. And may I get a show of hands of how many of you got more out of tonight's service thanks to that study of Hebrew? Just about every hand, just as I thought. Our fall semester starts next week. Hebrew classes, including beginner and intermediate, with special classes focusing on liturgical and biblical Hebrew. If your New Year's resolution for 5782 was to learn or improve your Hebrew, there is no better time. All classes are online, so you can be studying from anywhere. Registration officially closed today, but I negotiated an extension until Monday just for you, my friends, so I can say we have a class for everybody. What are you waiting for? Register and study Hebrew at CBST. And let me not forget Rabbi Moskowitz's classes on Mishnah, Monday through Thursday, and his Parsha of the Week class on Friday, all from 10 to 10:45. It is not too late to join the Mishnah class, although it started this week. In this first week so far, we only covered the initial 26 words of the first chapter of our text. I counted. So you should be able to catch up. And I'd say you could drop into the Parsha of the Week class whenever it works for you, although you should register first so we can maintain an up-to-date roster. As you may have heard, Senior Rabbi Sharon Kleinbaum is on a well-deserved 6-month sabbatical. We are fortunate at CBST to have, if I may use a sports metaphor just this once, a deep bench, as we saw tonight, assuring that we'll continue to offer the same inspiring services, deep learning, and impactful social justice programs as always. On Monday evening, we will have a members' town hall at 6 p.m. with Associate Rabbi Yael Rapport and Rabbi Ayelet S. Cohen, part-time Senior Rabbi sabbatical replacement, to talk about the next 6 months and to answer any questions you may have. Registration information was included in the e-news that went out this morning and in a separate email that went out this afternoon. Shabbat continues tomorrow with a traditional egalitarian morning service at 10 a.m. This week, for the first time since shutdown, we'll have a hybrid service with people in the sanctuary and on Zoom. This will be how we will proceed for the foreseeable future, with registration for both Friday and Saturday morning services opening Mondays at 9 a.m. And we will mark the end of Shabbat with our virtual Havdalah at 8 p.m. Information on all these services, classes, and programs can be found in the e-news and on our website. And if I may make a plea for help, please look first at the e-news and website before calling the office or emailing a friend on the board for a program time or link. It's almost always to be found in the e-news or the website. And with that, I'll wish you a final Shabbat Shalom and turn the service back to our service leaders.
Thank you so much, Harold. And I will just give another little plug that tomorrow morning, our virtual visit from the Jerusalem Open House folks will be, I don't want to call it live, it's very confusing figuring out the terminology for this. They will join us in real time on the Zoom for lunch after the minyan. So if you come to services, just stay on afterwards. If you're interested in getting to know the Jerusalem Open House folks, it's the same link, so you can jump in at, in time for lunch if that's what you prefer to do. And we'll get to meet Alon, who is the executive director, and Melody, who is the sort of partnerships person, and have a chance to meet this new generation of LGBTQ leadership in Jerusalem. They are pretty terrific, I have to say. And again, they will be here in the spring at some point. Tonight's live stream and Zoom, I'm still confused by the fact that, like, oh, there's no cookies downstairs. I'm like, wait, are there Oreos? There are not yet Oreos. I have Oreos at my house, but I can't share them with you yet. We're getting there. But tonight's live stream and all of what is possible has been sponsored tonight by the board and staff of CBST in honor of Alon Shachar and Melody Barron and all of our friends at the Jerusalem Open House for Pride and Tolerance. We look forward to spending more time with them in person in one holy city or another, Jerusalem or New York. By Naomi Blakeman, with tremendous gratitude to CBST for keeping me sane during one of the most difficult tax seasons and celebrating it ending. Thank you. By Sally Kopstein and Lynn Rosenbluth in celebration of our anniversary. Still dancing. I saw you dancing up there during the service. That makes me so happy. Mazel tov. And supported by Rick Landman, thanking CBST for giving it space to hold the first planning meeting for the first March on Washington for lesbian and gay rights on October 14th, 1979, which is why October is called LGBTQ History Month. I love that. By Yolanda Podosinski in honor of CBST's development team, Gina, Candace, Ruth, and Broderick. I also honor them, they're amazing. By Linda Solomon and Bonnie Siegel, thanking all who make Zoom happen. I like that, make Zoom happen. Sending all our wonderful clergy and musicians into our homes each Shabbat, and looking forward to putting our thinking caps on and studying in Lair House next week. And by Calvin Klein Hoffman. Thank you all for your support. And as I said at the beginning of my drash, Lech Lecha, we have sung it so many times, and Debbie Friedman, the wonderful lesbian Jewish composer, turned it into this blessing, which I hope you'll let it sink into your soul so that you can take it home with you.
And
Kiddush and Motzi are on page 156. Please rise if you are able.
יום השישי ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויכל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. סברי חבריי וחברותיי, חיים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחיל לנו זיכרון למעשה וראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Which vintage is that's like Tuesday? It's great. I'm one of those people who has never grown out of grape juice. And it's hard to imagine the pre-COVID very unhygienic things we did with our lives, but we are just reaching out the tendrils of our souls to be connected to each other. And if you're on the live stream, you can actually touch your computer screen because it's yours. That's great. But we're like this. Here we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam המוציא לחם מן הארץ.
אמן. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Nine, 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 nine.